morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Booth, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Booth. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open. Let's wake up those football gods here on this Saturday morning, the first week end without any football. We are knee deep into the off season, and that doesn't mean that there's not a whole lot going on. The Dallas Cowboys, we need to start getting some cash. We need to start letting some players, letting them know your contract is now voided so they can create some cap space. They need to try and sign some of our free agents. We have a lot of work to do. And before we get into all of everything that is from Dan Snyder being investigated, and probably having this being out in the open. That's what they're talking about right now. This will be out in the open once they finish the investigation. I believe that's the beginning of the end of Dan Snyder's ownership of the Washington Commanders away. Of course, the Cowboys have our own skeletons in the closet. The NFL says they will not investigate it because they took care of business when the allegations of voyeurism happen. But before we get into all that and how we start fixing the Dallas Cowboys, I have to give a happy birthday shout to Michael Gibson, one of our channel members. Today, February, nope, wait a minute. Actually, that was yesterday. Michael Gibson, 18th. You know, I keep losing track of the days. And today, Darren Letchin, it's your birthday. So happy belated birthday to Michael Gibson. Happy birthday to Darren Letson. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And if you are a channel member, be sure to go to the community tab. There's a post in there for members only. And go there. It's a link to our site. So that way we know when your birthday is, as well as letting you know when we're going to have things that are special for channel members. We're going to start doing some channel member Zoom-in calls like Sunday afternoons where we talk about football, problems with the Cowboys and all that, and do it as a live stream. So if you're a channel member, make sure that you go ahead and get registered in there. Anyway, this morning I came across an interesting article because, you know, it's the NFL silly season. Everybody's looking for tad bits of things to talk about. Of course, Carson Wentz, you know, being about to be cut or traded from the Colts, of course. Where will he end up? What's his trade value, and so on. Eagles, of course, are snickering because they got rid of him last year, got a first and a third, and now hold 3 number ones in the mid-teens. It's crazy. Of course, you're talking about guys like Jimmy Garoppolo. Where will they go? What's going to happen with Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson, of course? Will Deshaun finally get out of Texas? You know, will Russell Wilson be traded? All these things and more will be answered in the next few weeks, hopefully. As teams try to jockey for position. The newest model in the NFL is a copycat league. Let's be clear about that. The NFL, when somebody does something right or well and it works, everybody else gets on board. And so now we've seen the last 2 Super Bowl winners go through and basically buy themselves a championship. Both teams had a quarterback that was not on their roster the year before. They ended up building teams and then worried about getting the quarterback, which is the reverse of what it used to be, where it was get the quarterback, build the team. Who knows what's really right? But right now, it's about going all in and getting the players that you need. So this morning, I was looking at Bleacher Report, and this was an interesting article that was the one move that teams need to make. And fortunately, this is kind of the move that I would say that the Cowboys should make. Because what they're talking about is the Cowboys should trade with the Minnesota Vikings and get Michael Pierce. Michael Pierce, you're probably going, Michael Pierce, who's Michael Pierce? The Cowboys are in need of a defensive tackle help. Where have you heard that before? Oh, hold on. This is Broadcast Media. Hold up. Broadcast Media in full effect, okay? I don't have a cameraman. I am the cameraman. I love the way they're going about this because this is, to me, simplistic change that the Cowboys need. Dan Quinn's defense was much improved this season, but Dallas still struggled to get the stops in the run game while allowing 4.5 yards per carry. Though Azadigazua is a promising three techniques, I agree. He's going to be great in the years to come. You also have Gallimore, who is going to be really good. You got Tristan Hill, and now a prove-it year for him. It's a contract year. What you need is the man in the middle. The Cowboys could use a veteran in the middle. Pierce coming off of a season in which he only played 8 games because of injury, but he looked good when he was on the field. He had a career-high 3 sacks and 7.85 grade from Pro Football Focus. So you think about that. He played less than half a season and got 3 sacks. First of all, I know what you're going to say. Well, he was injured and he only got 3 sacks. True, he was injured and only had 3 sacks. But see, you have to understand the position. Your job as the big man in the middle, is not about getting the glory. You are the designated pinball. You are going to get hit from every spot imaginable. I remember one of my worst concussions, playing nose guard. Walk on. Know nothing about playing nose guard. I was an offensive lineman in high school. I remember livening up over Steve Ham, our center. Shade a little to the left, shade a little to the right, But I was always head up on him. I get hit by Steve, who was about 40 pounds heavier than me. Kenny Dalton was on the left side. I remember Kenny Dalton because Kenny Dalton was probably about 280, 290. And that was big back in the 80s. Kenny Dalton, double team. I can't remember who the other guard was. But other times I get double teamed by him. Boom, you're getting double teamed. Sometimes you'd have the center and the guards cross your face because they're going to the linebackers, and then the guard would come down and kick you in the hip. Sometimes everybody would cross your face, and the fullback would come hit you. You are the focal point of the offense and everything they want to do. You are the traffic jam, because if you can do your job right, that guard and center don't get off to the linebackers, and the linebackers get all the glory and all the tackles and all the statistics. If you can hold the line, then the offense has a harder time running the football. If you can hold the middle and push the pocket in pass plays, your defensive ends are that much more effective because the quarterback can't step up past the wash. Wash being where the offensive lineman basically screens the edge rusher outside wide. You can step up, and they're just blowing past you, past the wash. But if you are pushing in the middle, he can't step up, which means you'll get those swatted strip sacks. You'll get those sacks. You'll get the hand on the ball while he's throwing and get the interceptions. And see, this, to me, is a big fix. This is what I've been screaming for years. But let me go on. So he had a career-high 3 sacks in 7 games. Now, originally he played with Baltimore, and Baltimore knows how to coach defensive linemen. Unfortunately for the Vikings, their cap situation could make it difficult to keep Pierce. They are $14 million over the cap and could save a little over $6 million by trading or releasing him. That would allow the Cowboys to get a valuable piece at a discounted price. With the Vikings still taking $4 million in dead, the Cowboys would just have to take in $6 million worth of salary this season. Well, here's what you can do. $6 million, of course, sounds like a lot when you're $21 million over the cap. But depending on how you structure it, now the new tool that's out there, voidable years, you could end up making it like $1.5 million cap hit for a defensive tackle that is proven to be a guy that can make a difference. Because I can tell you, if you have somebody that's like that, able to push the pocket, and the people, I know people, you don't care about the man in the middle. You want to see Diggs getting interceptions. You want to see the linebackers scraping and making big tackles. You know, you want to see all that. You guys don't care about what's going on in the middle and the games of the offensive line. Most of you all have no idea that it's not, I'm just blocking the guy right in front of me, that there's pulling of the guards and sweeps and draws and things, that in a draw play, the offensive lineman is standing up like he's pass blocking, and then all of a sudden going into a run block. There's so many things that go on that, you know, they call the players unskilled players. There's a lot of skills to being able to take a hit from any direction. Oh, and back to my days at JMU, where you get hit by everybody. I will never forget, because Warren Marshall was our running back. Shades. He was big. He was about 6 foot tall and about 220. And I remember the play like it was yesterday, because Steve Ham crossed in front of me. Kenny Dalton blocked down on the tackle. I looked over here for the other guard, because that's what you got to do. Oh, I got to check. There goes the center. What's coming? The other guard, he went off to the linebacker. All the flow is coming in this direction. I'm looking up knowing that there's got to be a fullback coming at me. I don't see the fullback. What I see Warren Marshall. He's coming right at me. I'm thinking, it must be a blown assignment. I got me a tackle. I'm going to tackle him right here in the hole. And that's when Adam Burkett, remember Adam, tackle Adam Burkett, pulled and came down, and as I was literally standing up in the hole, hit me in the ear hole and launched me across the field. I remember the hit, and from that point on, everything going black until Coach Charles Jones is standing over me, and I'm looking up, and I'm literally seeing the stars spinning around. And he says, never stand up in the hole. And that, my friends, is what the man in the middle has to do. You can think that the cornerback is the most important thing. You can think that the linebackers, but understand that guy, that big guy in the middle, and he's big. He's 6 foot 340. He's like a fire hydrant. You know a fire hydrant? You ever hit a fire hydrant with your truck and it bends your bumper? It don't move. That's what you got right there. You don't have a lot of highlights with a guy like that, because most of the time they're not making the big plays. But this was one from when he was with the Baltimore Ravens going to Minnesota. And you're not going to see a whole lot of action there, but what you're going to see is a big body that's actually moving well. The big smile. Okay, you know, he's from Alabama. You know, big country, strong guy. Look, you see that weight? You see that push in the middle? Boom. And when he falls on you, you get belly. You know, you need a tackle. When you tackle, look, you want them to feel the belly when they hit you. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that big belly guy that when it tackles you, you feel like you've been sucked up in Jell-O. And we need a big man in the middle. I'm not going to say that's not a bad move, because that is. Because, see, sometimes it's the minor moves that you make, the less expensive ones, that end up being the difference makers. And as I look at the reverse of this, the Dallas Cowboys offense, you can see how big guys like Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh were able to just push Badish right into the lap of Dak Prescott and make the pocket uncomfortable. They can eat up space and block out the sun and making it harder to see your receivers. You can't step up in the pocket or take off. Now you've got to back out and get around the ends. And that, my friends, would actually be a great move. Now, as we get ready to close this out, because I got work to do, I got lots of work, I got a lot of those butcher blocks I got to finish. Interesting thing was this week they came out with the postseason power ranking, and they have the Cowboys at number 8. Some people will say the Cowboys missed their Super Bowl opportunity, that the window's closed. I believe that the Cowboys, if they can get a few more pieces on that defense, can make it a lights-out defense. And if they can fix the offense, I don't see how they can't be a really great team. In this age of teams turning it around from worst to first, I don't see where the Cowboys, if they decide to go all in, can't be that team. But let's listen real quick to the post-Super Bowl rating.
Let's move on to the Cowboys at number 8. And Pete, they seem like a team that's a little bit like what the Rams did. I mean, the Cowboys seem like a team that if they could just go all in, get that one championship, that would satisfy a lot of need. Now, they've come close to going all in, but they haven't come close in the postseason.
Yeah, I think this is a team that is loaded with stars. They just got to get them to play to that level. And remember, they had a ton of injuries and issues this year that really hampered this team. COVID set them back at the wide receiver position. I mean, before the season, they lost Michael Gallup. Before the season, we're sitting here saying, oh, wow, they're going to be this wide open, pass happy, throw it around. Who's going to stop them offense? And at times they look like it, but they had too many issues. And health was one of them. COVID was another. They have to stay on the field. Defensively, they're still not good enough yet. And, look, they have some good players. They give up a lot of big plays in the passing game. They have to be better on that side of the ball. But here's the other thing. The pressure's on Mike McCarthy. Every time he takes the field, the pressure will be on him. He knows Dan Quinn is there. He knows Kellen Moore's there. If they get off to a slow start, he's out the door. One of those guys replaces him. So that puts another level of pressure on the Dallas Cowboys, a team that probably where the coach has more pressure than anybody in the National Football League.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what Pete mentioned regarding the Cowboys, it's all about the interior for me on both sides of the football. They got to get bigger. They got to get tougher, especially defensively. That was a unit, when you look at the guys they had in the secondary, when you look at the linebackers, they did a real good job. But where they lost a lot of opportunities to make big-time plays was in the interior of their defense. They gave up a lot of yards from opposing running attacks they face. They got to get bigger. They got to get physical. And the same can be said offensive line-wise as well. Tyron Smith is getting older. He's been dealing with injuries. It seems like every year they got to add some depth to the offensive line spots. But in the trenches, I think, is where the Cowboys need to improve the most. And if they would like to have an opportunity to make a deep playoff run, it starts there.
Do you want a sports network?
Well, sounds like exactly what I've been saying here for a couple of weeks now. The line, you've got to be able to hold the line, and you've got to be able to move the line when you're on offense. So that's what we have here. I do like that kind of a move. I doubt that the Cowboys would make a trade for somebody like that. I think if he were cut by Minnesota, then that would be, a guy that they might target, try and bring in here and say, okay, we need a big man in the middle, especially if you could actually get it at a discount. But we know Stephen Jones is the value shopper. And with the results that we've been getting by doing that, yeah, we've been pretty good. But, sometimes you got to go ahead and spend a little extra money and get something really good. Because, for me, I thought about bargain basement shopping with a CNC machine. I looked at Amazon at the best one I could get on Amazon. It's a small one. I could do 16 by 16. But it only has, you can only use a 16th inch bit. It's slow. It's not real powerful and stuff. And it's limited in what you can do. But then I looked at saying, you know what? I'll step up to the Inventables. I'll get their X-Carve. And I looked at that one and said, it's more money. 2.5 times what the other one I was looking at was. And it's good. Capability was only like 29 by 29, and it used like a trim router. You end up having a separate router and stuff. And I thought about that because that was definitely better than the bargain basement piece that I was looking at. That was kind of like just the average kind. But I said, if I'm going to go and try and do this thing, to really try and be able to make stuff and change what I'm doing to win the Super Bowl of new products and things, I got to go all in. And instead of getting the X-Carve, I decided to go ahead and get the X-Carve Pro, because instead of me using a trim router, it's got a big, strong, integrated, air-cooled motor that can run for hours on end. I don't think that other router can do that. Yeah, it'll do things. It'll show up. It'll cut. This one could really cut. They can use bigger bits in here. It's 4 times faster than the other one. Yeah, it's a lot more money. But when a person last night asked me, can you do a sign 4x8? Can you do a sign 4x8? I said, hell yeah, I can. I certainly can. I have the capabilities of doing that. Had I went bargain basement shopping, I've been limited and be like, no, I can do a 16x16 for you. And that's the difference of what the Cowboys do. They get they get the, not the Fox Allen, they get the X-Carve when they really need to get the X-Carve Pro that can really do the job. If Dan Quinn is the guy that I believe that the Cowboys believe in, and I believe that he had a lot of autonomy on what he did and the type of players that he got, I don't know if it'll be Michael Pierce, but I think that you will see some beefier defensive linemen in there. And that's not to say that some of the ones that we have aren't good, because I think OC will take another step next year. I think actually Tristan Hill, he's in a contract year. He's had a few good plays here and there. I think Gallimore can be a stand-up guy. And I think if you can put big men in the middle, if you can put the big men in the middle and put Micah Parsons outside with his speed, that you've got the bangers there, you've got the thunder, and Micah Parsons becomes the lightning. And that's the way I look at it. But, it is time for us to get on up out of here. We got a lot of work to do today. And we got some more weight to lose. I'm down 14 pounds in less than a month. And I don't know if it shows, but I tell you what, I feel a whole lot better. And I feel light on my feet. Real light on my feet. But it's time to roll.
Our folks here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe for the Sports Report.
I'll catch you later.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about this, Cowboys? Yeah!